Hey, hi Akshit.
Yeah.
Hi. So, welcome and thanks so much for this session to tell us about your GMAT journey. And I would like to hear from you, but just wanted to give some background into what I would like to do. So, most students are interested to hear about what has been your personal story. How did it all begin? So, maybe we can start with the introduction. So, how did this thought of GMAT come in, and how did you start with your prep?
Okay, great. So I have done my engineering. I did my chemical engineering at a college in Bangalore, and I immediately interned at ZS Associates, and I got into consulting since then, right after college. So I finished a year and a half at ZS, and then a lot of the peers that I was working with at ZS had they were pretty smart, pretty intelligent people, and I was trying to figure out how I could be like them. Uh, that's when I stumbled upon business schools, and this was a thought that was coming prior to me as well. And so throughout my journey at GS, after a year and a half, me trying to pursue an MBA became an option because I wanted to get myself more into the business acumen and trying to figure out different sectors of healthcare that I can contribute towards. And the easiest way I could do that was through getting an MBA. And that's when I first realized, okay, I got to do my MBA. I didn't want to go through the rigor of giving the CAT and getting into one of the IMs because very, very, very competitive. Uh, and I feel like it's not the right way to go about selecting a student. So I felt like okay, GMAT might be a better option for me, and yeah, that's how I tried to like I realized I need to give my GMAT.
Got into GMAT. Yeah, I think this CAT versus GMAT debate, right? A lot of students, when they look at it, I think somewhere, this pressure that a test is important, but if I everything depends on that one day, how I do in that year. So I think GMAT is where
Yeah,
becomes
and GMAT has a lot more pros as well. Like you don't have to wait a year to give it. You can give it whenever you can, and then multiple attempts within a single time frame. So a lot of pros of
important.
GMAT.
So, talking about multiple attempts, what has been your story with GMAT? I would love to, yeah. I think because
Um,
it's very interesting. So, I think we spoke, I think, first before your first attempt and also after it, I think. So, you can just tell me a story, yeah.
so my first attempt at the GMAT was somewhere in September, and I scored a 655 on the Focus Edition. And realizing that I could do a bit more towards both in terms of how I can prep and what can I do on the D day to kind of get the score that I wanted. That's when I like reached out to Crackverbal, and then we kind of came up with a plan, and we decided to give the another shot at the GMAT. And really, really, really thankful for Crackverbal's help. And I was able to give my GMAT second attempt on the November of 11th, and I scored a 715 on the Focus Edition.
Right. So I think between the two attempts, there was obviously kind of a lot of learnings that went in, right?
Yeah.
So what we can do is like if you can just kind of walk through, if you look at it from a test day perspective, uh, did you find anything different between your 655 and 715 attempts in terms of your
In terms of the test day experience, I felt like the 715 day was, I was very calm and I was prepared. And I also came in with the mindset that even if I mess up the test, it's okay. It's
right?
okay to give it again. So that's the mindset I came in with, and everything went according to plan. The invigilator checking and me going there and sitting at the computer. I just felt very relaxed, and I was ready to give the test. And on the 715 day, I actually chose the slot at 8 a.m. because I felt like that was the best time I could really focus on the exam and the questions. Whereas on the 6:55 day, I was giving it at around 11 a.m. So that's almost a 3 hour difference. But yeah, I think that day I was very calm, very relaxed, and I was prepared to give the exam.
No, I think that's something that, what you say is a very important point that people realize after they get into the whole test taking mode, right? Like in the first attempt, we probably don't pay attention to these things like
Yeah,
mindset,
yeah,
right? So, in fact, I interviewed Amog, who had a 685, and he said that this first section he thought in his mind he screwed up. So, because of that, he was very relaxed in the other two sections.
yeah,
But he ended up with a better score than what he had thought in the first section, right? That was verbal. So just the knowledge that you don't have anything to lose, I think gives a lot
yeah,
of
sure, for sure.
this thing. Great. So now, if I were to get into specifics, right, like quant, verbal, and data insights, I just wanted to understand what is your larger perspective now that you look back, right? And you kind of see that, okay, this is what I did in order to get the score. So just on that, what are your individual split in quant, verbal, and DI?
Quant was 88,
Right,
uh, verbal was 86, and DI was 82.
82, great. So you kind of got a very high percentile in each of the sections, right? So which kind
Yeah.
of cumulatively got the score. So how has been your approach in each of the sections?
Okay, we can start with quant.
Quant.
And quant, I'm an engineer, so I was pretty familiar with quant. Didn't have a lot of lot of difficulty trying to get a good score in quant, but I feel like anything above an 85, like a person getting an 85 and an 89, there's not a lot of difference in terms of ability. It's just that you need to have the right kind of mindset, and you need to know how you can approach a problem in a specific way, in the most effective way. I think that's what differentiates a person from an 85 and an 89. And I think that's where Crackverbal really helped me a lot in quant, because Dev Mitra, the quant faculty, she realized that I could get a Q90 as well. And she really helped me out in trying to figure out what's the best approach to figure a problem out, or figure the solution for the question. And we've had multiple calls on different topics. I was really weak in some areas of stats, probability, and so we did a lot of these questions, a lot of brainstorming on how we can approach a question, whether it be through elimination or there are any other tricks, or you'll have to put in values, you'll have to assume values, just different kinds of techniques in ways you can be faster and more efficient in solving a problem, because you have to solve 21 questions in that 45 minutes. And as you get questions right, the difficulty grows, right? So you need to be more efficient while solving these questions. And that's where Dev Mitra really helped me a lot. And I was able to, so in my mocks, I was consistently getting 84, 85, 86, 84, 85, 86, but I never crossed that 86 threshold. And after multiple conversations with Dev Mitra, after multiple meetings, after solving a lot of problems, I was able to get that 88.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I think what you said, very true. The difference is not knowledge, right?
Yeah.
But you have to kind of step inside your head and ask yourself, what is kind of
Mhm.
going wrong, and so you're able to make that great, great. But you started off with a certain confidence that you already are an engineer, which got you to that, particular score, and then
Yeah.
great. What about? I'm just going to jump to verbal.
Verbal.
So,
Okay.
how's been your experience there?
Verbal was a little bit of a hiccup for me. Specifically, CR. CR was one topic that caused a lot of nightmares for me. Uh, the solution was to solve a lot of questions, variety of OG questions, and that's what the crack verbal faculty told me as well. That you need to solve quality questions.
Correct.
You don't have to solve like hundreds of these questions. Take up a topic. For example, you have assumption questions, you have strengthening, weakening questions. Take up a topic. Just solve 20 to 30 questions. the most important part of it would be the analysis after you solve it. So you got to figure out how to approach a question, look at the conclusion of the question, trying to figure out what the stem of the question is, look at the options. Is this subject or is the conclusion even in the option? Try to eliminate, try to verify. So a lot of these small nuances really helped me a lot in CR. Uh, Initially, my CR accuracy was about 50-40%. That's it, even on medium questions. So I was not really able to solve CR questions efficiently. Then, with Crackverbal help, especially on the website, you guys have these like clustered tests,
Right.
which is like a mixed bag of questions. So these questions really helped me a lot because it's very similar to the GMAT format, where you don't get similar questions of the same topic, but you get
Right.
a mixed questions of like various topics. So, and it's timed as well. So these questions really help me navigate as to where I lacked and what should I focus on next. So that helped me in CR. RC again, RC I was a little comfortable with RC, but I did need to improve my RC accuracy, and so there were a couple of effective steps there as well, as to like focus on the conclusion, what the author is trying to say, what the tone is. So these kind of things really helped me a lot, and just focusing on them and trying to refine these tactics and solving good efficient OG questions helped me in RC as well. RC, I was consistently getting 82, 83, 84. That's it. I've never crossed 84 even in my mocks.
Right.
But somehow I ended up with an 86 on the D day.
Right. Wonderful to hear that. And just on that point, what you mentioned, quality over quantity.
Mhm.
So a lot of GMAT questions, right, till now were only questions GMAT could create. But what you saw with regards to clustering is something that we are actually using, because when we are reverse engineering from the official questions, we are seeing some patterns, right?
Yeah.
Because see, eventually GMAT is not giving this information, so we are kind of trying to figure out. So we are trying to create. I think that's one, and uh, I think your improvement on CR commendable. I think it's a tricky topic, especially at that level. When you're looking at a 85 plus in verbal, right? The kind of CR questions you're going to get will not be the most obvious, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Always kind of this to it. Wonderful. So moving on to DI, the new thing. So how did you tackle DI? What was your
Okay, again, DI I felt was like solving puzzles to me. It was very interesting for me, DI, because it just felt like I need to solve these puzzles and I need to get through questions. What helped me with DI was the OG guide. Uh, I was like I took it as the Bhagavad Gita, and I just consistently solved questions from the OG guide, and of course the Crackverbal portal as well helped me a lot on DI, because there as well you have clusters and you have the specific topics to focus on, and so I stuck to the OGDI and Crackverbal portal for DI, and I would say DI wasn't really a difficulty for me. It was a decent section for me. It's just that I had to work on my timing, because DI, what happens is you have both data sufficiency and other kind of questions, right? So you'll have to, sometimes it gets a little time consuming, and so you might miss out on easy questions at the end, trying to figure out the medium to hard questions in the middle. So you'll have to have that balance of questions. You need to have like a structured approach towards how many questions you're solving in how many minutes, and sometimes you will have to sacrifice that one or two questions to go ahead. And these kind of tactics, discussing with Dev Mitra as well, helped me a lot, because she used to tell me to use different tactics in mocks, and then after the mock scores we used to discuss, okay, this worked and this didn't, So just stick to this because you're good at this and this is working for you. So that's what we consistently did. I consistently solved a couple of questions every day, and I think DI was fine for me.
Great, great. No, I love the fact that you said that it's like solving puzzles, because somewhere deep down you have to be interested in the problem,
Yeah.
correct? Otherwise, it's very hard to get the solutions. And you mentioned about test taking strategy. So, what was your mock test, like your official test? So, just wanted to get your
Okay,
thoughts.
this is where this is a curveball. I've never crossed a 695 ever in my mocks.
Wow.
I have not crossed a 695 ever in my mocks.
Hmm.
And so mock 1 to 6, I gave all of the mocks twice as well. In my first attempt, I was able to do mock 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5. And the scores were ranging around 655, 665. And so I went and gave the exam and I got a 655, but I knew I could do a little bit more. And I sat with Dev Mitra, and there was a very, very clear structure to when I should be giving the mock and how many marks I should be giving. And so that's where Crackverbal really, really helped me a lot, because there was already the structure. And on top of that, after each mock, I would sit with my mentor and I would talk to them on what went wrong and what I could do better. So I did this, and a couple of marks in after my first attempt, my score was hovering around 645, 655 similar, and I thought I hit a slump. And then the crack verbal faculty was like, you know what, just take a few days off. Just take 2, 3 days off. Don't do anything. Just relax and just chill out. That's what I did. And then I gave a mark after that and it hit a 685. I was like, okay, this might work. And then since then, I sat with Devmitra and we were like, you know everything, it's just execution now. So I'll give you a structured plan in a week, just to 1 or 2 OG mocks, and analysis should be the main thing. So coming to the last 10 days, I gave about 4 marks. I had left with these 4 marks. And scores were consistent 675, 685, 695, hovering in that range. And I gave my last mark, I think 3 days before, 3 or 4 days before the actual attempt. And I scored a 685, I think. And they were like, don't worry, this is still a good score, and this is what you're good at. Just have the right kind of mindset. Just don't worry too much about what you've scored in marks, because this is not really the actual exam. Just take time off these next 2, 3 days. Just kind of revise if you want, but don't think that this is a reflection of your ability. Just go on the exam, think like you have nothing to lose. And I think that kind of help, that kind of support really helped me a lot. That's what I did. The next 2, 3 days I didn't do anything. I was just chilling, and I scored a 7.5. Yeah.
Right. Wonderful, wonderful. Congrats. And I think, yeah, we do like the fact that, when we see improvement in students, it's just a question of just being present. And a lot of what GMAT also tests you is, executive decision making,
Mm.
right? Ability to remain calm under pressure. And I think you have, kind of, you have done that, you've shown that, right? And
Yeah.
in some sense, GMAT prepares you for the MBA and life beyond, correct? So in some sense, great on
Yeah.
that. Anything about specifically, I just wanted to check anything about the test day itself, like the section selection order or anything that you have in
Um,
terms
so what worked with me is consistency.
of.
I stuck to what sections I had been giving in the mocks, and I gave my mocks at the time my exam was, like, this time it was scheduled at as well. So just consistently putting in that effort, and building that stamina. For example, my sections were quant first, DI second, and verbal third.
Hmm.
So I consistently gave about 8 marks with this same specific pattern. Initially, we kind of played around with the sections, and the results were a little disappointing. So we decided to stick with this section, the structure. And I think you have to just show up whenever the mock dates that you decide to give. Give them like this is the real exam, Be very, very disciplined, very diligent in the way you give your exam, and then do your analysis and try to build that stamina for those 2.5 hours that you're going to be at the exam center. And the more number of marks you give, I'm not telling you to give 200 marks, but ideally in the 8 to 10 range. Once you're familiar with that number, once you're familiar with how the exam is, the exam day feels like you're just giving a mock. So that pressure of performance just goes away because you've already done it so many times. It's just another day for you giving another mock. So that's how I did it, and I think it worked.
Great, great. Now, one important point that I wanted to touch, and this is something I'm hearing from a lot of students, is you are in a consulting role, correct? That means you do have a hectic schedule at work. So with all of this, managing GMAT for consistently over a period of time, people
Mhm.
tend to find that to be a struggle. So, any advice how you dealt with it? And
Yeah, I mean, consulting, you have longer working hours, and I think any working individual will find it a little difficult to manage both. But my advice is that don't quit your job, don't go on holidays. Just try to, on the weekdays, just try to give consistent, efficient efforts. You wanna, what time your exam is, just get up an hour, 2 hours before that, and then just study for a couple of minutes. You just solve 15 questions, no problem. Each section 15 questions, but do it daily. Just please do it daily and do it consistently. Don't not do it on the weekdays and just do 10 hours on the weekends. I would not advise that as well. If you're studying for an hour and a half, great on the weekdays. Just focus on that. Just be consistent. And anyone who's giving that amount of consistent efforts, I think can be done with the GMAT in like 45, 60 days. I feel like that's a good timeline for anyone who's consistent with their efforts. And you don't have to like study a lot. Like the GMAT is, the syllabus is pretty, like it's like 10 standard syllabus. You just have to make sure that you're thorough with the quant, whatever formulas, whatever concepts that you have to be thorough with. You need to know how to solve questions, what the most efficient approach to solve questions, and just keep solving questions every day. Consistent, efficient efforts. Just just give it every day. Don't slack off on the weekdays and then go big on weekends. Just do it small but be consistent. That would be my.
I love that. Consistent, efficient, effective efforts, right? So the way to kind of tackle it. But yeah, I think that's one of the things that people have had, right? That GMAT is not just a test of math and English, but there is also this other psychological thing that I have to take out time, not being stressed, doing the test. So
Yeah.
all this mindset kind of thing also plays a bigger role. But I think that's kind of how GMAT, as I said, really prepares you. Anything that else that you think comes to your mind that you would have probably missed?
Um, yeah, I think another thing is, even I had this mindset that everyone wants to give it their best in one attempt only. And I was of the similar thought process as well. I know GMAT has unlimited attempts now. That does not mean that you can give unlimited attempts, but I feel like if you're planning to give an attempt, just go in with the mindset that you don't have anything to lose. Even if you bomb the test, it's fine. You can just give it again. So don't have that pressure of, no, I have to do it only in one attempt. Just don't have that, because then it's going to cause a lot of other problems. Just make sure at the back of my mind that you know that you're going to give it your best shot. And if it if that happens, well and good. If it doesn't happen, don't bog yourself down. Just get up, try again, and keep trying. That's what happened with me. I was very frustrated after my first attempt. I was like, I could do more. But Devmita really told me that it's fine. Don't worry about what happened. Just take some time off and then come back stronger, and then give your another attempt, and you'll be fine. So I think this mindset that, no, I have to do it in one attempt, it's a good mindset to have, but just don't beat yourself up if it doesn't happen. Because Some days it just doesn't, and that's what happened with me on my first attempt. It just didn't click, but on my second attempt it did click. So just come back, prepare more, and just be ready. That's it.
Right. Great, great. And I think, what you said, which is just that ability to do what we can do, which is in our control, correct?
Yeah.
I'm now seeing a lot of students who are getting in that 645, 655 kind of range, right?
Mm.
Which is equivalent to a traditional, 700 kind of score, and then trying to see how do I push it to a score on the other side of. And somewhere what I feel is they are thinking, and when they are stuck, right? And you've been there, right? Your scores and all the marks are coming same, right? And if something one point goes high in one point goes low in other, and somewhere you are doing this juggling, and you are really questioning key, do I have it in me to
Correct.
get to that 715? So how do you tackle that? Like, what do you think would be the difference between someone who's scoring a 655 and someone who scored a 715, since you have done both?
Yeah. I want to say this again. Anyone who scores over a 655 has the ability to score 100 percentile in the GMAT.
Right.
There is no difference in ability or knowledge. The thing that differentiates a person from a 655 to a 715 is, again, the very, very small things that you think don't matter. These things matter a lot. For example, your mindset on the exam day, uh, how you tackle problems, how much practice you've done. So if you're consistently giving it your efforts, no matter what the outcome was of the mocks, just don't worry about the mocks. Just consistently keep giving efforts and don't worry about the mocks. You do this right, and you keep a cool, calm head on the exam day. There is nobody stopping you from getting 100 percentile in the GMAT.
Right.
You just have to keep showing up irrespective of what the outcomes were of the marks of the different tests you gave. You made a mistake, that's fine. Just learn from the mistake. That's all that you can do. You just learn from your mistakes. So anyone who's scoring a 655 or 645 even, I don't think there is any difference between you and a person scoring a 715. You just have to consistently show up and learn and learn and learn and go give it your all on the D-Day.
Right, Akshit, and I'll tell you, this will be music to ears to a lot of people, because see, they want to hear this, because sometimes it's a very lonely battle. So I think
Yeah.
you saying this also gives that hope that yes, it's possible, because sometimes you feel it's like I'm doing everything and results are not coming. But very important thing, which is have the mindset, make sure you have the right approach to the questions, practice, 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 and on the day of the test, just show up on a cool and with a cool and calm head, and
Yeah.
everything will get
Yeah.
sorted.
No, because I was in that position where I really questioned if I could score even 10, 20 points higher than what I scored in my first attempt. And on some days, it really gets to you because you're putting in all those efforts and the mock scores are not showing that. And there'll
Right,
be days where the mock scores even dip.
right,
So all I can say is just it's
right.
okay if it dips. It's okay if you score really bad. Just continue to practice and continue to learn. That's all.
So, great points. And, I want to kind of bring to this that you had signed up for the personal tutoring program. So, just to kind of give, so one of the things that we have with the personal tutoring is, we take on people who want to scale to the next level, right? Because as tutors, also, it is very challenging for us,
Yeah.
right? So, how do you kind of look at things differently? And so just wanted to kind of understand how did that go for you, given that typically we also like to work with people who have already gone to a particular level, so that we can kind of get them to higher. So how's that?
Yeah, Crackverbal isn't paying me to say this, but if anyone is looking for GMAT help, just please reach out to Crackverbal because I was in really really good hands at Crackverbal. After I scored the 655, I spoke to Crackverbal and they had this uh, sense of belonging that your score is our score. So we will do anything and everything to help you get to that level as long as you also are going to put in those efforts, because there's no point in just Crackable or any other tutor putting in 100% of their effort. You also have to cross that bridge with them. So as long as you are a hardworking, dedicated individual, Crackverbal will go above and beyond to help you out. And shout out to Dev Mitra. She was like my GMAT mom. She was really, really helpful, very supportive, psychologically, emotionally as well. During those down days, she would just come and tell me, dude, just don't worry. You're giving it your all. You're practicing. All you have to do is go with a cool head. So Dev Mitra really helped me a lot across all three sections, trying to figure out the nuances, trying to figure out the intricate efforts that I can put to better my score. So Crackverbal faculty, really good faculty. Any time of the day, you text them at 2 a.m., they will reply in 10 seconds. So I used to do that a lot with them. I used to send her a bunch of questions and she used to text me back. So I was really, really, really in good hands for the GMAT. Apart from the staff, the whole portal itself, I felt was very, very helpful for me because it mimicked the GMAT structure itself in a way where the questions were obviously OG questions, but the structure and how they were given to you and how easy it was for me to access these questions and try to analyze the answer keys and everything. And also the explanations that were given in the videos on the portal, really good support from that as well. So overall, it was a great experience with Crackverbal. Any day, I would recommend Crackverbal to anyone who's trying to get to that 98, 99 percentile. My only advice is that Crackverbal will only help you if you can help yourself. So if you are there 100%, Crackverbal will give you 200%. So just make sure you come there, you tell them ki I need help, and they will put all of their efforts to make sure you reach that score.
Thanks, Akshat. It's very encouraging for us to hear this because as teachers, we also kind of want to give that. So we like to believe that we are like the consulting of GMAT, correct? So because just teaching is not teaching, right? Like why is it working? How else could this work? What is the real problem? It's not just the concept. As you said, it's all 10th standard. So after a point, we can't teach. So in fact, sometimes when we get on onboard students, also we tell them that remember that we will not come and say something which you would otherwise not know.
Mm,
All that information is available on the internet. But I think working with students, we also realize what we earlier spoke about, right? The mindset,
yeah.
plays a huge role, and we kind of believe that personalization is a key to that. But thanks so much for your kind words, and I think I'm kind of done with all the questions I had. So thank you so much, Akshit, and we wish you all the best in
No,
your
thank you.
career.
Thank you for having me.